Saleia Audio. Y'all ready? We about to have some fun. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Y'all ready? So let's get it.
But do you feel a little bit better, Shawn, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shawn had some dental work done, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Social Tea Podcast. It is Terrell, Saleia, Shawn, and Mike. Jen will eventually join us when we finish doing these episodes of Reasonable.
Look, two more. We got
one more after this.
Push us back.
We're talking about. I know we're talking
this one and the
about
next one.
episode 8. Right? 8. Episode 8 of Reasonable.
Don't cry.
We got one more episode to go. Yeah. Somebody else want to give the initial thoughts first?
I'll do mine because I gotta go.
Okay.
My initial thoughts were, and Terrell, I'll go ahead and say it, but this is a trigger warning.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that. Yes.
Yeah. This is a trigger warning for anyone that
has been groomed or sexually assaulted by a family member.
Yes.
Which happened, which is shown at the beginning of the episode, and we're saying it now for this podcast episode.
Yeah.
So
I'm so glad that they put that on the show. But
I'm glad that they did too.
Being a Paul-centric episode, my initial thoughts are that you clearly see what happens when you don't get therapy. I think a lot of situations that happened not only between Jax and her stepdaddy, but Jax and Brayden, Jax and Damon, Jax and Will, Jax and Lewis, in the type of situations that have happened to her in this one episode, it just, for me, it clearly shows that when trauma goes unchecked, you will continue lashing out in different ways.
I didn't even think about that.
Jax, so for Jax, because she's had sexual relationship with these other men other than her husband, and it is as she's definitely a victim from the actual act itself, and then the subsequent remarks and treatment from her mother. And that whole dynamic too, it indefinitely, oh, poor me, Paul is gone. Not oh, baby, are you okay? Let's get you the help you need. It was about her. So Jax has been through some stuff, and Jax needs to sit down and talk to somebody. And I think because even with the situation with the kids, everybody's so wrapped up in themselves. This is the first time, especially with the kids, that they kind of spoke up, and you can hear their side of how they're dealing with their parents' bullshit. And look, we out here in the darkness in the parking lot by ourselves because y'all don't get y'all shit together.
Right.
But that's just my overall take.
Okay.
I feel you.
Yeah, everybody need to go talk to somebody, lay on somebody's couch, and just
crying and yelling Van Zant's shoulder. No, they need a therapist.
She would get a nice break from these people.
Like
My initial thought.
Bye, Shawn.
Bye, Shawn. You ain't got to actually leave.
I know. I think you should stay.
You ain't got to
Unless
leave.
you're going to go to sleep. I mean, if you don't want to say anything, I'm going to miss you. I mean, I like you too, Mike, but I'm going to miss you.
You are. But
can we put her back in the camera, Mike? No.
Look, when this edible, truly kicks in, I can't be responsible for anything that I say. That's why I'm
actually think
no, it's okay, Shawn. It's fine.
Right. If I can show up on here,
come on.
You know I showed up on here.
Come on, and then we ain't got no complaints. You should be good.
All right, then. I do gotta get something to eat, but y'all go ahead with y'all.
Okay.
I do think Jax should go see a therapist. But I also just thought that, again, they could have went a little more deeper with that because it just, I mean, her mother didn't well, which is one thing I was kind of happy about. Her mother didn't deny it, but then also didn't truly stick up for her.
Yeah. No, she didn't.
She didn't say, it did. She was no urgent. Say it didn't happen.
Right.
But at the same time, you didn't talk to Paul or get on Paul about that. You got on Paul about his drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you didn't say, oh my God, no, you're lying. He wouldn't do that, which, okay, good. She didn't not deny that it happened, but yet you still let him halfway off the hook because you only blamed it because, well, he did that because he's drinking, not the fact that he did.
That he's taking advantage of your child.
Yeah. And it was, I wish that when young Jack's face changed, when her mother was sitting there saying basically, like, he didn't mean it. He thought your room was my room, was our room, which I don't give a damn how drunk you are. You know, what room is your room in a house after you've been living there you're married, right? Were they married? Yeah, married, right?
I guess.
Paul and Lulu married? Married, right?
I don't think so.
They didn't indicate.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but you know which room is yours. And
you know that you don't bust into nobody in the bathroom neither. Like,
no.
I thought that was ridiculous.
No. I have to admit, when I was young, I did that to my god sister, but she wasn't in a towel. I was half asleep. I got up to use the bathroom, but she was in there. I walked right on in and use the bathroom. And she's looking at me like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh. And finished using the bathroom, wash my hands. Because I literally was half asleep. Like, I literally got out of the bed because I had to use the bathroom. But she was in there, but I didn't. At this point, I was like, it's already out now.
Yeah, autopilot. Yeah,
like, but to go in when you know she's in there, and you know that she's out of the shower or out of the tub or wherever she's out of, because you can hear somebody getting out of the shower. For you to go walking in there after you already done grazed her breast. Now you go walking in there with her in a towel. And then it was just like I wrote in the text. I was expecting. I thought what happened between her and Paul was going to be a lot worse than what it was.
No, right.
Because the way they kept playing it was like, well, you stuck up for Paul. Wish you stuck up for Paul or, forgave Dad in the way you forgave Paul. And I'm like, well, did she truly forgive Paul? Because I mean, he did stay away for 10 years. So I'm like,
that's not long enough to me.
I know it ain't long enough for me. You should never come back.
No.
But I just thought that they could have went just a little bit, not actually show the act, but a little bit more deeper, because I would have loved to see a little bit more of the grooming to really pull you into that storyline. And we already know it, but the fact that he says, "Oh, I'm going to get you a car," and she was like, "Oh, great," and she goes to hug and he grazed her breast, and I'm like, okay, I probably wouldn't have done it during that scene. It probably would have been another scene. Well, I'm getting you the car, or you know what I mean, or something that leads up to like
putting them together.
Yeah, like you got the car now, and now it's like now you owe me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like but he gives her the check under the door, though.
But that's
that was after the fact. By that point, you ripped it up. You don't give a shit about that damn car. Like, okay, throw it away.
Right.
I mean,
because if it were a situation where she got into a fight with her mother about a car, and he plays good, kind of, the good cop, like I'm on your side type of thing, and she thinks, oh, he's really on my side. He listens to me, and then he does like the bait and switch kind of thing. Then you go, oh, I wasn't expecting. Oh, okay.
If he had gotten in that room and gotten to bed with her, and then started touching her and was saying, how you like the car, like that would have been like, oh my, you really like it?
You're right.
Not saying you got to show, but just a little bit more nuance with that, because when you think about the whole entire episode, it's a lot that's in the episode, which I get Shawn's point of what they're trying to show of her not dealing with this is the reason why she's having all these problems. But actually, that doesn't really fit as to why she's having the problems she's having now, because you can take the storyline out with Paul and she's still having these problems. It doesn't really lead to why she's having the issues with Lewis. Because with Lewis, it's about her job. She slept with Will. Now you're sleeping with
Damon.
So it's that kind of, I get where they were trying to go with that. But for me, it didn't really lead to that. It just, if they had spent more time with that early on as to maybe she don't like to be touched a certain way. I mean, we got that with Braden, but that was too little too late, because it's like, you could have did that with Lewis. Maybe she doesn't like to be touched a certain way when Lewis is touching her. And that could be also another reason why. Versus her being at work all the time.
Right.
Like,
or it could, if they were trying to do a play on why she is, maybe it's a control thing. Maybe she only likes sex when she's in control, when she's you know what I mean? And when I don't know. Like if they were
also too, you can that's also a valid point too. But then you would have to go a little further with Paul.
Yeah.
Because it can't be just the reason why.
Yeah, I agree.
The reason why I say it is because you can't just raise her breast and touch her, wipe something off her butt and then get in bed with her and, grab her breasts and, oh, you smell so good. You feel so good. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I went out the room. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden now it's like, because of that,
you're right,
having issues with these men. And it's like, well, she never had
sex. He's supposed to put it all together. Right.
If she had a sexual act with Paul, then that would make me, okay, then that's the reason.
Yeah.
Because we don't have, if they had went more into her, maybe her having her first boyfriend after that, and then her not, something just small.
Yeah.
Not to be not big, but just something small. But anyway, then my initial thought was, for overall of the episode, it was slightly better than the other 7.
I agree. I do agree on that.
Slightly.
Well, we did get to see Jax be like a real lawyer.
Thank you. Thank you. I was like,
asked extra questions. I was, what?
I mean, but
go ahead, Saleia. Get your initial thoughts on it.
I'm sorry. Were you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, to your point about the court scenes, I felt like that's the Jax we should have seen from all along. Mm-hmm. We should have seen this person from the very beginning, and I feel gypped. That they would, kind of, they want us to, you want us to go there and think that she's this lawyer, but you're not even showing that she's this lawyer until now. Right. We needed to see her biting. We needed to see her sharpness from the jump, and I didn't see that. That's my thought with that. I'm thinking about all the scenes, accumulation of the whole episode. Mm-hmm. I wish I would have seen an honest conversation between her friends, whichever friend that they would have picked. I feel like this was probably the most interesting conversation out of all the scenes that she's had with her friends, particularly not the whole scene, but particularly with her friend saying, kind of telling her, oh, you don't like it when people see you. You know what I mean? That whole thing. And it was like, oh yeah, this is something. As far as the Paul situation, I felt like it shouldn't have been one episode. I felt like had they would have did like, I don't know, little flashbacks where, where she thinks of something and, she brushes it off, like something to make us, because we already kind of knew that Paul's some type of pedophile. We kind of already figured that out. Mm-hmm. But if they would have just had and I think that would have, to your point, Terrell, I think that would have you would have seen through all the episodes, like little snippets, fitting it here and there, okay. And then maybe having an episode, being this episode that kind of brings it all together. Like, this is what he did for real. Like, with him being, with her thinking back about Paul. I think that I would have liked to see it kind of broken up and not in just one episode.
Yeah, they could have did that when they were at the party.
Yeah.
Episode 3.
Exactly.
They kind of, I guess that was their way of alluding to that, was Jackson's face when what's his name? Naima was sitting on Paul's lap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then she went and cried, but it was there was nothing else. So you were left, I guess she's traumatized.
But and here's the other thing. But her mother, but I think with that, and I think what bothered me is your mother didn't protect you. Mm-hmm. You out there protecting your child.
Right. Why wasn't there right. Like get off of him or something.
Yeah, or something.
If we would have seen her.
But then also too, what gets me about the fact that, because Shawn said her mother didn't protect her, but that would have been nice of them showing that her mother didn't protect her.
Yeah.
Because she told her mother cursed Paul out. Like I told Saleia, she cursed him out for the drinking, not necessarily for what he did.
Yeah. That was the not protecting.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Sort of, in a sense. But it's, and then it goes back to, like Shawn said, her or me, what am I going to do? But I think
and Jack saying to her mom, like, it's going to be okay. Like, she in turn.
Yeah.
Now, she had to be the adult for her mother.
Right. If they had kept her, that look on young Jackson's face when her mother first says, basically, like,
what is that going to do?
What am I gonna do? He didn't know he thought your room was your room was my room. What am I gonna do? But the look on her face if they had just stayed with that and then let that be
emphasized it. I don't know.
Emphasize it, but just let that fester and grow over the years. Because even though she keeps saying to her mother, like, you didn't protect me against Paul, it would have been nice to know how long this actually went on.
Right. How long has she been taking care of her mother?
I think that's the part that doesn't make it fit, because it don't seem like it was summer 96 or fall 96 or whatever it is. But anyway, it don't seem, if they had said like this went on for a long period of time, because the way they make it seem like it was those, I mean, even though Jack says to him, you know, when you say you're going to get me a car, the time on the street, and then when you got in my room, and then all the other times. It was like, so what all other times? Like, how long did this go on for?
Right.
But the way she's saying it makes it seem like she only happened when she was 16. So I'm like, okay, you're only 16 for a year. So just go on for a year, just go on for 2 months, just go on for 45 days. Like, how long did this go on for, to the point where, because if she had been telling her mom and her mom wasn't doing anything about it, then I could see her saying, well, you didn't protect me. But the fact that her mother wouldn't cuss his ass out, and like I said, it's like you cussed him out, but you didn't get on him for what he did. Because if he wasn't drinking, then she feels if he wasn't drinking, he wouldn't have done it.
Right. She just kind of partially, it was a partial thing. It was like, it's like somebody hitting your car, and you're like, they damage your car, and you go, you need to stop speeding. You need to stop speeding because there's speed bumps and there's children, and you don't say nothing about the car. You're like, you just need to stop speeding. And you get on them about the speed, which ain't wrong. You know, it's right. It's accurate, but it's like, but your car is totally messed up. Like, you should be, you're not upset about the car. Like,
and but then also the whole, him being gone for 10 years.
Which ain't really long enough.
Rehab, but
yeah, he went to rehab, but he was gone for 10 years. And by the time he came back, she was grown.
Yeah.
But I'm still thinking, like, if you had because now it makes it seem like once he left, their relationship was good. Even though Virginia Jackson's her mother.
Right.
Because, you know what I mean? Like, if you had a show maybe some other scenes and them not gelling well after this because she believes her mother didn't stick up for her,
or maybe the mother is a serial, like, dates these guys, and it always these type of things always happen, and then Paul comes back, and then then Jax could say, well, you never believe me with him, with all the other ones. It's just, that's why I felt like it should have just been broken up. They
could have.
They jammed everything in one episode.
This should have been that B or C story that is told lowly over episode.
Right.
To get to this point, then you can be like, oh my God, you motherfucker. But
you can
hate the okay.
Right.
But anyway, Mike, give your initial thought.
Mike.
I don't want to ramble. I forgot. Go ahead.
I just, like I said earlier, but now I have a little more. I don't want to say a little more empathy. I go back and forth. She's just a well put together mess. Overall,
her hair did look nice this episode, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked more wiggy.
No, I mean, it was
less
flat.
wiggy. It looked less wiggy.
Because it moved. It wasn't starch with hairspray.
They got the Olivia Pope hairstylist this time. It was like, make it look real, make it movable, make it movable.
Monique, can you come in on the 3rd week of October?
Go ahead.
What time?
Go ahead, Mike. What is your initial thoughts?
Yeah, that was my initial thoughts is short. She's just a well put together mess that doesn't seem to desire to really be all together. You know what I mean? She just goes without thinking, it seems. Her whole existence, it seems to be her job. Like you said, she doesn't seem like a mother. She wants to be a mom, but
she's not
she
a
doesn't want to be a husband.
She doesn't want to be a wife.
And
she's barely a lawyer.
She a well put together mess. She put together career wise, but everything else, it's just all over the place. Whimsical, not thought through.
You got that right.
Especially with Damon.
Okay, so now we can get all of this. Man,
poor Will.
Will my ass.
Will. But wait a minute. So hold on.
He just want a reference. He's like, that's why I've been calling your ass.
I'm just trying to get some work.
I ain't vain much. You think I want you? Shit, I just want a reference. You got me fired from my job.
But the part that cracks me up is you put behind her in the dark in the street talking about some I want you, can nobody else have you. Damn it, not you're calling her because of that. Well, early on. So what happened in between? All of a sudden now, I ain't worried about that. I need a job reference. What?
I changed my mind.
Like, what? Wait a minute. 2 weeks ago, you were just telling me.
He thought about it. He was like, you know what? I need a job more. I want that and can't have that. That's what I want. That's what I need. That's what I can't live without, a job.
Shut up. It hurts to laugh.
I'm sorry. He thought about it. It was like, job, Jax. My lights just got cut off.
I like lights.
I like lights, and I'm really hungry. I'm so hungry. I need a job.
But wait. How he get fired? I forget.
I don't know.
Oh, because Lewis, I'm assuming, called the security company and cut the cameras off.
He called the security company and then he got him fired. That's how.
But you should have got him fired when he was sleeping with your wife. You don't get him fired after 6 months down the road.
I don't know.
No, but see,
it was all stuff is not really clear.
So
what'd you say, Mike?
Right.
It doesn't seem like it's really clear. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff's kind of left in the air a little bit. You kind of figure it out and be like, okay, I guess that seems to be what happened.
Well, last week was 4 months after Kalisha died, so fuck it. You don't know.
Right.
You don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Jax ain't his first rodeo.
Nope.
Listen, this time is of no importance.
No,
on this show
at all.
So wait a minute.
You can't think about it. You cannot think about it.
It's magic.
So what the hell was Lewis doing that he couldn't get the kids? What was he doing?
Mad at Jax.
His raggedy ass.
Right.
Video game.
I'm not talking to you. You like to cheat.
The way they talked, there was a miscommunication.
And then looked up and was like, damn, I forgot to get the kids.
There wasn't no miscommunication.
There was no communication.
They don't talk.
No. But he's always been the one to look out for the kids to all of a sudden now like have that slip his mind. Okay.
Because they create these scenes.
He going through a lot.
He's seen his girl he trying to be with, his ex-wife, his wife he's trying to be with, all cuddled up in the diner, rubbing up the brother's
But he wasn't saying all that shit when he was banging the other chick.
That's why he went and did it, because rubbing up on all intimate with him. He was I might as well.
Yeah, but so point to the fact that you forgot.
But she was thirsty though.
2 weeks later,
mad thirsty.
Yeah, she was. But like,
I didn't get that. I mean, but that again, they're writing these scenes to like give. They're writing these scenes to give people to make sure characters have dialogue. They're not writing scenes to give you information.
No.
Because that scene, and as soon as it happened, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Jax, I could understand being late picking up the kids because you're in court. You're dealing with the court case, which is actually she was with Damon, but still.
Right.
But
as he's like, please, baby, please.
Yeah. Well, no, that was before. That was when they was.
Oh, was that before?
That was when they were having lunch at the auto shop, which to me, again, you write the weak characters. Now he's pissed at the fact that she's answering the phone when it comes to her fucking kids. Like, really, dude?
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah, but it's like
they're so weak. These are weak characters.
I think
anyway.
I agree with you. But they have to, like, every character needs to say like
every
a certain amount of lines in each episode.
Something.
Right.
Like that scene with Jax and her husband both showing up at the school was really the scene for the son to say what he had to say. That's really what.
Which I thought was kind of corny. It wasn't wrong, but I thought it was kind of corny for him to be like, "You go to the car." It was like, for somebody who's getting D's.
You shouldn't be telling nobody shit.
You trying to be a big brother
down. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden you wise. Yeah. Come on.
You go to the car. Like
whose car? What car are you talking about? Because you ain't got no car.
Well, he said no. He said no. He said go to dad. He said go to daddy's car.
Oh, okay.
He told her to go to daddy's car.
Look out.
He told her to
sorry, Shawn.
How about that?
He told her.
Right. How about you get your life together?
But that scene was really, truly, even though Jackson and Lewis tells Jackson he's going to file for divorce, that scene was really about just for the son. It had nothing to really do with him, Lewis telling Jackson he's thinking about divorce, which I did tell you she was going to get upset about. Not upset in terms of angry, but upset in terms of like, that's not what I want. Which you knew that writing is on the wall.
Yeah. I think they should have worked out that acting part too, because she was just like, oh, like, girl, are you surprised? Are you really surprised?
All she had to do was do a simple what? Like an Olivia Pope. What? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and I'm sitting here, and the only reason why I'm bringing up Olivia Pope again, because I've been rewatching Scandal again for like the umpteenth time. But just sometimes the looks.
That's it. That's all you need.
That's all you need. You don't even have to say a word. And I'm not saying that because it's Kerry Washington, but I'm like Viola Davis never say. Just actors on TV, just any actors I'm watching, even if you watch Grey's Anatomy. I mean, just any show. Sometimes a look is all. A character does not have to say a line. Sometimes it's better for them just to shut the fuck up. Like when the brother's coming in saying to Damon, like, you get mad at him. Well, you must drop because of miss what? You saw him leaving. He said, I'll see you tomorrow. I mean, you didn't mention anything to him about, hey, you're going to go pick up so-and-so.
Right.
Like, he was just, I'll see you tomorrow. He's like, okay, all right, we'll do it later. You're like, okay. But then for you to turn around and be like pissed because.
Right. Like super pissed, like big mad. Like,
right.
Irritated, I get it, but I don't know, like the dialogue needed to be much more natural. Like I just felt like the dialogues in general of this show are just not as natural as it could have been, even down to the son. Like, you are still a child. You're still a child. You can't talk to your parent. I mean, I get it. He's been disrespectful from the start of the show, but there's a certain way you talk to your parents, even though you may be making valid points.
He made a valid point, but then for Lewis to say, watch your mouth, it's like, Now
we want to say it?
Now?
Right.
Like,
I don't know. He kind of telling the truth, bro. So,
yeah. The truth hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be mad as a parent when the child's now telling you the truth about yourselves, and let you know that it's affected us, which honestly is it's a good scene, but that could have been done earlier.
Yeah.
And it could have been done at home. Not for the fact that neither one of you, or we had a miscommunication or pick you off from school. That would have been nice if you had the conversation early in the scene about who was going to pick up the kids.
Yeah. But that's part of the writing you talk about. Stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff like that just happens. Even with how the boy from jail, how he just changes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's mediocre.
And all of a sudden, he's just this person.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now it's like I told you, like before, it's like when first of all, you can see it coming a mile away. Knew when he first got mad about the whole high school reunion. He's mad about how come he couldn't go.
How come I can't go?
I was like, okay, the writing's already on the wall. It's like that. It's like they write these characters in a way where you have a good conversation, but they say one line, all of a sudden that person just blows the hell up.
Right.
Conversation totally gets left. It's like that I mentioned before. It's like that boring ass Lifetime movie of Whitney Houston's life. It was like every time somebody said something she didn't like, she's doing a line of coke. It was just like, what?
I was listening to the podcast. I was cracking up. That was so funny.
I mean, it is. It's like every time, Bobby says, shut your mouth. Like, what?
Or like when Literally. House of Pain first came out and the girl was supposed to be on drugs and they always had her dancing. And I was just like,
right.
Like in Jungle Fever?
Right. Like,
yeah.
That not everybody does that. Who's on drugs. Like, and they were like, oh, she's on it again. Because she's like, she's snapping her fingers, she's dancing. And it's like, okay.
Right. So it's like that, where it's like, even when Jackson's having a conversation with Chanel. Listen,
oh, that's a girl. That's her name. Okay.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah. Autumn and Chanel. That's all I know.
Yeah, but look how many episodes it took for us to get a name.
Well, I mean, they were saying it. We just didn't care. We were like, her friend.
Friend number 2.
The other friend with the ponytail.
Yeah, friend with the mess
describing the friend, right?
But even with that conversation, which I thought
that was conversation. Yeah.
I think it was the realest conversation she had.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I said.
If they had stayed with that, but all it took was her to say, "Oh, well, let's at the house," and I told him that that you.
She was there too,
and then she was,
But Jax was there too. Oh,
right. That's what I didn't understand.
That's what it was.
Yeah. She was outside, but the fact
she's still in the house,
no, right? But the fact that she all of a sudden now Jax is like, what you talking to him about my marriage for? Like,
yeah.
Wait a minute. I thought y'all supposed to be friends. So what's the big deal? Like, it's like they have to have, they can't have a scene without forcing some type of fucking tension or trying to force some type of drama.
Right.
Like, just have a regular conversation scene.
But see, if that was, and I think I said this like ages ago in the podcast, some people have frenemy situation friends. You know what I mean? There's always like tension going on.
Exhausting, though.
It is exhausting, but there needed, again, just like Paul, there needs to be, it needed to be a slow drip in terms of how they handled their scenes. Like there had to be, like if they're going to be biting, if you're going to always have her biting, you have to have that one friend or somebody who goes, you know what? Sometimes you cool, but sometimes it's hard being your friend. Like have different one, not just that one, not Chanel, not Ponytail, but have them all kind of go, yeah, girl, I love you and all, but I got to tell you, it's difficult being your friend. Like have that, or different variants of that. If that's the kind of relationship they got, okay.
And I'm assuming Chanel's her longest friendship,
which we just found out. So she's not the best friend. She's not the best friend telling her this.
But then why not? I know she's not the best. She's not her best friend though. The best friend is the chick with the dreads, right? Or the chick
the locks. Yeah.
Right. So why not? But even if Chanel is not her best friend, why not add a scene where Jax is telling Chanel at 16 what happened between her and Paul? Like, really?
That would have been great. You know what? That would have been great. And I don't know, like episodes ago. Again, not in the Paul episode. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had so much to write, but it's funny because I remember in, some of our podcasts, I remember you saying, Terrell, like the scenes with the friends make no sense. In those scenes that make no sense, they could have literally done without those scenes to make it flashback scenes to a young Jax.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think I think you're 100% correct. And I feel like, and somebody said this earlier, this episode seemed rushed. Like they're trying to cram all this stuff in one episode.
Yeah, because they only got one more episode to go.
But like you said, you have to set it up in those other episodes.
Right.
Because they never paid anything off in the other episodes.
No.
You still haven't. You haven't brought anything to close.
No.
And this is what I did not get with Jax and her daughter. And I said this before, I think another podcast, another episode. When I think it was the episode when they were at her mother's house for.
Oh, that was the first episode. First or second episode.
Why did you not snatch your daughter off of Paul's lap?
But again, that goes back to her mother not doing it for her.
Mm-hmm.
But
she's not her mother.
But she's not a mother. She's not a mother. But also too, it's slightly different because you told your mother after the fact.
Yeah, the mother might not have.
You're looking at this happening. Mm-hmm. So you're telling your mother, you told your mother after it happened. Your mother went and cursed Paul out. Paul left for a decade. You're now looking at your daughter sitting on Paul's lap. The first thing you need to say is, get your ass off his lap right now.
Right.
That's it.
But like you said, she's not a mother. I mean, she only got upset about the whole period thing because
she thought.
She thought. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that she felt guilty about yelling at her. It wasn't like she generally cared. She just felt guilty that she yelled at her about her stomach hurting.
Mm-hmm. But did she yell at her though?
She didn't yell at her. She just like, go drink some Pepto-Bismol. Yeah, she got gas. She kept saying she had gas.
Well, but she... But she didn't dismiss. But the thing about it, she didn't dismiss her to her face. She dismissed her to Lewis and told Lewis to tell her to drink some Pepto-Bismol.
But no, she dismissed her to her face too. Because remember, there was one time she was like, "Mom's sick." She's like, "You're going to school," like that kind of like very black.
Well, shit, that's black folks anyway. Your parent, you're going
to school, and she's like, "But I'm sick." Like,
yeah, take your ass to school. You'll be all right. Like, I don't think that, but again, it's a
dismissal because she didn't investigate it.
But it's a dismissal, but it's not. It's a dismissal of. It's almost like we tell them, "Mom, I'm sick," and it's like, "No, you ain't. Take your ass to school, but you're really sick." Mm-hmm. That's dismissal. My mother telling me, "No, your ass ain't sick. Go to school." And then you get to school.
Well, they wrote it wrong. Like they
versus me telling my mother that I've been sexually assaulted by who all after the fact. It's and I get what they're trying to do in a way of Jax. In that way, Jax is the same way as her mom in terms of.
But they didn't connect.
But they didn't connect it to that way to make it seem that way. Mm-hmm. The only time it makes you think that something is wrong is when she sees the blood in her panties. But even then, she didn't think Paul. I thought she thought Paul. Obviously, she didn't think Paul. She just thought, how long?
Yes, but she just started crying. So we don't know.
We don't know any of that.
But again, you didn't close it off. If you
didn't close it off, it's not clear on.
But even the opening, so you gotta, in order to close something off, you gotta write a steady opening.
Open yes.
Right. Yeah. And they're not even, like, nothing is connecting. It's very staccato. Right. And, I don't know, like, if that was a thought, again, we all often on this podcast, we talk about foreshadowing. None of that is here.
Yeah.
None of that is here. Now, it has to be a slow drip. Yeah. We have to see this little girl trying to vie for Jack's attention, and Jack's literally saying, "Mom, this is going like." In order for us to get to the point to see where Jax's point of view is coming from, where she feels like, oh my God, I'm neglecting my kid. It would have been perfect to see her like really neglecting the kid.
Over time.
Go sit down. Get out my face. Not just one episode. Something. Right.
When her daughter's, and then you go back and say, how long has this been going on? And she's like, oh, well, for a while, I tried to tell you when, before the series started. Because
we didn't see that part.
We didn't see that.
I told you before the reading. Yeah,
you're right. I told you before the table read what was going on. You know what I mean? Like,
and you told me to go sit down.
Because it's just like you saying it at the beginning of the episode when you go into school. That's like I said. That's every Black parent. Ain't nothing wrong with your ass. Go to school. If you're sick, the school will call me and tell me that you're sick. Then I'll come get you.
No, my mother wasn't like that. She was like, "You're sick," because I wasn't that kid to always like, "I'm sick." You know what I mean? So
if you said it, then you was really sick.
I was really sick.
There's a meme on the internet. It's the kids watching this and say, "I'm depressed," and the mother said, "You better go depress them damn dishes."
That's something I say to Ashley all the time.
You depress them damn dishes.
I will make some shit up about doing some dishes, and it will always work. But it's along those lines.
But I just like it's too many open-ended things that they haven't closed yet. And then you got this dumbass Damon who
they wrote him that way.
Going up in the house, fucking beating up Will out of the fucking blue, which is just.
Well, I'm your man. I'm your man.
His ass.
He did. I'm just like, I'm sick. Yes, like, are you kidding me?
I thought he was going to kill him. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I thought he was too. Right? He did, and they was choking him. But I'm just like, and Will's like, I'm done with you. You're the most thing that happened to me in my life. Really? Like, you weren't saying that like, 5 minutes ago.
Like, bro, don't leave out the reference. Make sure you get the reference.
He didn't even want the reference.
He's like, fuck it. I'm just going to be homeless in a boom.
I was sleeping in my car, thanks.
It's going to cost me. Shoot. I didn't realize the reference was going to cost me an ass kicking. Damn.
Really?
What kind of bodyguard security are you?
Right. Well, he was good.
But Shawn said it the first time. He said he only checked one window and that was it.
Yeah, dude.
You're supposed to do around the perimeter and shit.
One window, that was it.
The perimeter of that.
The thing is, Paul. Will is not good at his job. He's pretty shitty. No. Like he knows it.
Get fired.
Yeah. It was going to happen. It was going to happen.
I just. But that whole scene of Damon coming to the house and whooping.
Wait, what did he say?
He said, "I'm your man. I'm your man."
She was like, "Who said that?" Because she was like, "What? Everybody got to go. Everybody got to go. Everybody got to get out."
I don't want nothing to do with you.
But
Mike was like, "With the kids home."
Yeah, I was like, the kids home.
Well, the kids, I was thinking the same thing too. I'm like, this Shawn quiet.
But would you come out if you heard all that noise going on?
Well, the sun would come out. The sun would come out.
You know what?
Dad, she had
to call the police from my room.
But wait, but he could have used that and be like, "Yo, Dad, she got 2 dudes over here fighting."
Right, see, this is why I can't stand her ass. You be mad because I be disrespectful, but look at this. This is hella disrespectful. I can't go downstairs in the kitchen. Like
I can't get no snack.
And Dad's like, hold on.
Both her men are fighting.
Hold on. Let me turn the cameras off. Hold on. What the hell's going on? Yo, stop it right now.
I ain't got no damn microphone, dog. They can't hear me.
I just thought that was just so... Like Mike said, for him to go from I'm getting out, I'm out, to I got curfew, I ain't trying to get in no trouble. The church is just across the street from a halfway house. To now all of a sudden you're pissed that you can't go to the damn reunion. You're mad at the fact that she got to talk to her kids.
You're mad that
you're mad at the fact that she has kids that you don't really want to say. And then you turn around and you're mad because she was fucking some other dude and that she's married.
And she didn't take him to the hospital to go talk about Paul. Go meet Paul.
Like,
yeah.
Dude, are you kidding me?
Who are you?
I mean, but hey, this is the same guy. Same guy who wanted to go to the reunion.
Yeah, you want to go to the reunion.
I guess
which was out of the blue. It's like, dude.
You didn't take me to go.
You got that magical coochie. I done told
But I just thought, but it's the same thing as with Lewis. Of why are you getting? How your dad get more chances than I do? What?
Because she don't. Right. She don't talk to him. They don't. They don't talk.
That's okay. Poor thing.
But they don't.
They don't talk. They don't communicate. So,
like you said about the writing, how it just comes out of nowhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
it's almost like they're like, but we need him to be angry. He needs to yell at Jax for something. What can we do? Let's have him yell. And then that's what we see. We're like, this came out of nowhere. What?
I mean, the fact that they sit there eating and they having the conversation, he's like, I forgot what the fuck they were talking about. But then she answers the phone because it's Lewis. And she said, I can take this because it's my kids. She's outside on the phone. He gets mad. And she's like, I got to go. Oh, when she says, she's like, I got to go because it's my kids. And he goes, I'm tired of these fucking niggas being around here. And I'm like,
I know. I saw that. I was like,
you saw my film.
Are you talking about the guy?
So she leaves after they argue. He was like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. But she had already left. Like, you not tough guy.
Yeah.
I'm tired of these niggas.
When he said it, I thought that's hella disrespectful. But then Jackson Lewis was calling their son a nigga last week. So.
Yeah, I mean.
the whole show.
He goes like, I'm tired of these. I'm tired of these niggas just showing up. And she's like, niggas? Showing up. It's the husband.
Yeah, I can pick my kids up, bro.
The blackest part in the entire episode was when her and her assistant were in there talking to Rich because they was like, I thought Theo was your boy.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
I guess all kinfolk ain't kinfolk. Like,
But he was looking at them like trying to understand exactly what the fuck they were talking about. But I'm like, come on.
I didn't think he would actually. I thought he was gonna, because I thought Theo was his boy.
Yeah, I like it. They kind of like. I kind of know. It's like you're like, look, she knows something. She must know something about them talking and getting together.
Yeah, she knows.
No, I don't think. Well,
because she made reference to it, but she might have had Daniel.
I don't think that she knew. But now this is where again the
writing.
Yes, the storytelling ain't that great. Because just in the previous episode, he was already still meeting with Theo about handling the company side of everything. And you're in agreement. Supposedly, you're in agreement. Now,
allegedly.
Why is it that you come to this episode and now you're trying to go against Theo for what reasons?
That's Jackson's his friend, not only his colleague.
But when the hell did you come
now?
When did you come to that realization?
Well, he's flip-flopping because in the beginning he was the friend and colleague, and then in the middle when Theo's like, oh, you let some Coco, but he's saying all these racist. Is Jack? You got to take it up with Jax, and he's like, I don't have to do anything. I can make decisions, and you're like, all right, shut up, Rich. You're like, you obviously are insecure, which all of a sudden, yeah.
And but then when between the last episode and this episode, did you have the realization again? Was it something Theo said?
Yeah.
Right.
Because when you left last talking to Theo, I'm going to go do whatever it is he want. I forgot what he asked him to go do. And all of a sudden now, but you're trying to get him to spill the beans about what?
Right.
Like, it's so many just, it's like a lawyer show with no lawyerism in it. Like, You know what I mean? Like there was no, I mean, this one episode of them showing, like you said, showing Jax, you know, being the attorney that they should have showed from the first episode. Even just her handling a case that had nothing to do with the storyline. At least you open it up after she's being, you know, tied up.
Right.
You open it with her in the courtroom handling a case this way. Set that up. You just don't, she got to keep going around telling everybody, well, I'm a winner. I win. But what the fuck do you win besides, you know, what do you win? Like, you make it seem like this is your first, like, like she had no other cases between Damon 15 years ago and Bray now.
Right.
Like, what other cases have you won?
Yeah.
Well, that would have been perfect. They said at the beginning, like you said.
Yeah. That would have been great. We could have seen we could see her be sharp. But I like even the whole situation with Braden and, you know, losing the company, it felt like, dude, if you turn around, your company's going to be gone. Because even in the meeting, they're like, oh, you'll be fine. Don't worry. And he's like, oh, okay. And it's like, dude, they are obviously setting you up. I needed to see him be the Graydon that we saw at the beginning. Like, you were no nonsense. It was your company then. Why would you then now all of a sudden be trustful?
Yeah, everybody having a big meeting except you.
Right.
Exactly.
For your company. Your company.
Which all this time, I didn't realize it was vodka. I thought it was like a tech company or something. All this time, they're talking about vodka?
Right. I was like, wait, it's alcohol?
Because they kept saying cloud. I'm thinking it was like an app or a tech company. It's fucking liquor.
Right. Malt liquor. It's like, are you kidding me? If this ain't the most ghettoest thing, really? It's like a 40.
Yeah. I mean, wow, it's a vodka company. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Right.
If it was a tech company.
But the fact that you don't know it, you didn't know it, it's still, it's like a miss with the writing, like you say. It's you're uninformed, you're guessing, and just I guess.
But now that I do know, I mean, let that shit go. Start up a new company. It's alcohol. I mean, come on.
Big money.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I just I mean, but I just didn't. Yeah, I don't.
It was better, I will say.
It was
overall, it was better. I'm mad that it got better to the final end. You know what I mean? I wish it would have been, it should have started off this way.
And how is it that her leaving the hospital, she knows who killed Kalisha?
And now we got to watch
that out. But it's a good way to segue to the next episode, because you want to know what the hell she's thinking about.
May be totally different. They probably won't even close it.
Well, she gets kidnapped in the next episode. So
she gonna need to get kidnapped because they better not be like, oh yeah, that's right. We did put that in there. She gets kidnapped. Somebody take her. The last somebody comes in a mask and they throw her in a van.
Because I'm just like, she leaves the hospital, she stops.
But season 2.
And Paul dies, and you know, and then she goes, whoever she calls him, I know who killed Kalisha. And it's like, wait a minute. It took you going to see Paul and saying what you need to say to Paul for you to get a clue that you figured out who killed Kalisha. Not none of the shit that you found. It took you to go talk to Paul.
She's getting
talk and murder Paul, because that's why he died.
Yeah, she got over her. She's getting a victory over her trauma. Now she gets clarity, I guess.
I
guess, but that wasn't even fucking up your judgment in the first place. But the kids say, but even when she was sitting telling a friend, well, I got, this case and the kids and, the Lewis talking about divorce and Paul. I was like, showing that you're stressed handling all of this at all.
Yeah.
Because you're getting up every day, walking into work. I mean, granted, yes, we all do that and never been not showing any stress.
Mm-hmm.
But at least, when you're at least.
Yeah, in your moments alone.
At least with Annalise Keating from How to Get Away with Murder, at least we knew she drank. So that was her way of coping with all the shit that was going on around her, is her drinking every night.
Right.
And her being an alcoholic. Okay, so you're not.
But this was supposed to be Jack's moment where you see her fall apart. This girl did not look like she fell apart.
Every time she cried, she don't look like she was falling apart. It all looks forced. Even when she was at the bar crying over her daddy, it wasn't. It again, to me, that was forced. Yeah. Well,
to be fair, everybody's tears were like forced. Even when Sarah was on the stand, it was like, girl, and she starts crying, and it was like,
well, as you said, they people love white women's tears.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody saw them. It would have been great if we could see them. I didn't see no tears.
That's right.
She was scrunched up like. It reminds me of the
like
Amber,
that baby or child that always cries and be sitting there saying he ain't got that one tear come out.
Right, it's like
he just hungry. He just wanted the toy.
Yeah.
And what was the point of Braid's mother going up there? What was the point? I get the fact to say that who he is.
His character. That was it.
But I just
and a sad story about his brother, but
which he told. Remember, he told when he was he told when he went to that black picnic by that ball player, by Ponytail's husband's fundraiser.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a. This overall was better, but it
was supposed to be.
Storytelling was just.
Yeah, I felt like it was supposed to be heavy. I mean, obviously the subject matter of, child molestation and abuse is heavy, but you can see how they were really trying to make it, like, to your point earlier, they were trying to make it heavier than what, like, we kind of already knew that that's where it was going. And again, everything seemed crammed, like everything. And I don't know. I feel like I was gypped.
Yeah, everything was crammed together.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. Everything was just, it's like, we got episode 8. We're trying to, we don't know if we're going to get a season 2. And we can
cram it
together. But
I'm going to watch episode 9 and I ain't looking back.
I mean, it's.
That's the show I watch and I will never watch again.
It was too much going on. Like, it was. It was. If you're going to do a Paul episode, this should have been a whole entire Paul episode.
Without,
like
the same way they did a Damon episode. I mean, like,
right.
They should have honestly, I feel like they should have did a Paul episode as soon as we saw Paul from the first, season, the second episode or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they should have did like immediately a Paul episode, a young Jax going, if they were going to just do a Paul episode, then we would have gotten that out the way with and we're okay.
Yeah.
Then we could have gone on. I mean, there's a myriad ways of how they could have done this show. And I'm just kind of disappointed that they chose what they chose.
I know.
And the one thing I like, the one part I like, or aspect I like of it, is how the husband is reacting, is changing his reaction now that he's decided that he's going to leave her, and he wants a divorce because after what he saw, you know what I mean? He just, on this, he's not just flipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's had evidence to build up to say, you know what? You obviously don't want to be with me, so and I want to. That's one of the only things that have been like
only thing
together
that has been complete.
Then when they meet in the park with them, they meet at the school with the kids, and after the kid goes to the car, and she goes to touch his chest. He's like, takes her hand off.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. And then she actually reacts like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Well, he needed to be that guy from the beginning. Well. I say, like I said before, I don't really particularly feel sorry for Lewis because he is the one who kind of gave her the ultimatum. which didn't make any sense. And his friend, said that on the last episode. The one with sense kind of said, you don't give your wife an ultimatum.
He's like, you knew who she was.
Right, exactly. You knew exactly.
Just like she knew who Lewis was.
Yeah, even at the hospital, he's like, oh, you can't stay. And she's like, well, I have a murder trial. Oh, you got to go. And dude, she always has to go.
Right.
She got something to do.
But then also, too, it's a murder trial. What do you expect her to do? That's why
you can sleep in.
Right. Tell him you can't show up.
What's that, Independence Day? Tell him you can't come. Right. You got to call him back. You got to call him back.
Tell them you got to take your kids out to ice cream.
It just didn't make any sense to me when he was at the hospital. He just getting like it. Again, it's that the way that it's written is like they put drama where it don't need to be. They put tension where it don't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis sitting there getting mad with her at the clinic, at the hospital, at Paul's bedside, because she has a court case. And she says, I told them I was going to be late. They put things on hold because we had a family emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what I don't understand. Her mother called her in the middle of the night, right?
Mm-hmm.
It took you, and you said, oh, I'll be right there. It took you, what you do, fall back to sleep? And then woke up on your regular morning day? Because that's the first thing I thought when she showed up at the hospital the first time. I'm like, she called you.
She was like, he's in the hospital. All right, roll back over.
I'm on my way. Show up there fully dressed for work.
I think that's just the thing. They forget what they wrote. It's like, did you forget what you wrote last week?
Like you said, on timelines with everything.
Yeah, like where's the continuity person? Like, there's got to be somebody just like, hey, this didn't happen. We got to keep it chronological because she had this on when she said this.
When you show up in the middle of the night, you don't even have to wake the kids. Just go to the hospital.
Right.
Okay. But you're coming in fully dressed, ready to go to court. So did you go back to sleep? It was like, I get hair done and shit laid to the side and everything. And Lewis is there.
Like, go back to sleep.
What? I just thought to myself, like, are you serious right now? And that was my first thought was, she called you it was nighttime. I distinctly remember it being nighttime. You had your headscarf on, you were asleep or getting ready to go to sleep. And she said, Paul's in the hospital. You said, okay, I'll be right there. And then the episode ends. And then the next episode, which is when we're talking about, you show up fully dressed for work. So what happened? Did you go back to sleep? Did you just say,
the way I gathered it, that we didn't see that part, and we see like Paul had been in the hospital. Maybe it's the second day or whatever, and then she's showing up to the hospital.
Nah, but you can't do it that way though. But I'm sorry.
That's consistent. That's consistent with where it's been going. You're true. Like, I guess that's what happened.
You got to guess, right? We got to fill in the holes where like, they, roll back over. Like, he's almost dead.
Yeah.
Okay. He ain't looking too good. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Right. Like, that's pretty much what happened. I'm like, what happened here? I'm like, what happened? That's exactly what I thought. Was like, what happened?
Well, I mean, it would have been fitting. It's not like she cared for the man, so she showed up a week late. Like,
right.
I was trying to get here, but y'all know I got that case. Yeah, I know I'm busy.
Lewis gets there before her, obviously. For a man who was supposed to be working.
Because he obviously, you know what?
You're supposed to be working too,
Lewis lives with the mother.
He lives in the attic.
He's in the attic with the video cameras. That's why he's always first on the scene.
That's okay, Mama Lou. I'm here. Like, don't you?
Yeah.
But you got bills to pay. You still got to pay the Airbnb, don't you?
That's expensive.
Exactly. Go to work.
I thought that was grimy too, the way he said that. It's okay. I'm here. You know what I mean? She got to go do her little thing. She can't be here.
Well, he was just trying to be biting. That's what it was,
You know, petty.
Trying to hurt her.
Petty, yeah.
He's being petty.
Yeah.
Because he's mad. I understand why he's mad other than his ridiculous request to have more time and her not be her. You know, the whole time. Well, other than that, she's kind of cold and.
But also too. But again, that's another reason.
It almost feels like this.
Talked about.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It almost feels like, and it just kind of occurred to me. It feels like they wrote this screenplay for a man, and someone was like, "No, make it a woman." It will add extra stuff because we need
lots of a role reversal.
Yeah,
it is.
Because if you see the way Jax is acting, she's acting like a dude is funny because she's saying things like she doesn't want her son to be a fuckboy, but she's a fuck girl. Like she's telling Damon. It's funny because when she was telling Damon, like, okay, these are the terms of our relationship. That's stuff that dudes do. Yep. Dudes do that when they did like, yo, you as long as you understand the situation. And I mean,
women do it
I don't know. That's just what it feels like. And the way the guys are responding and, erratic and crazy about it, it just seems like something like a reversal.
But they're typical roles, typical characters, but they just didn't want to place the stereotypical people in them, pretty much. They didn't want to put the male in what is Jackson's character, and they didn't want to put women in what is Lewis's character because of the same old tropes. But there's ways in which you can make that work.
Right.
Like this still, you got to make them believable. I don't believe people as these characters. I don't
either. And then for Lewis, and that's
even if you put
thing.
Lewis, even if it was the men and the women's roles and the women's and the men roles, I still wouldn't feel anything.
No. And then it kind of makes me mad that these people, and I say these people, I'm talking about the writers. It's like, do you know what you wrote? Because at the beginning of the season, you kind of alluded to the fact that Jax is this person. She cheats on her husband because he said, oh, you've done this before. So it's not his first time, with him seeing Damon. It was like, honestly, dude, this should be no big deal to you. Like you saw your girls get screwed on camera. You saw your woman screw another man on camera. So,
well, like Shawn said, it's the intimacy part.
Yeah, but then he act like he liked it, and they left that up in the air too.
Yes. Between her and Will, when her and Will was sleeping together. Yes.
Right. Like that was his kink. They made it seem like it was his kink. And it's like, well, what is all this stuff? Like I'm gathering that the writers are not nuanced people.
But then he gives her an ultimatum because of her job. Right. But apparently,
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Because she works. Yeah. Because she don't have enough time for the family, him and the kids. Which to me,
that's a week thing.
But she seems to be able to come home every night.
With guys, the way
at
guys
the end
talk
of the day. So
the way guys talk about is the same. Is like the role reversal. Guys will express to each other that the common theme is you get married, you work all the time to support your family. She has an affair. Why? Because you don't spend enough time with the family. She's always left alone. You don't spend enough time with her. Then you're left with the kids.
Right. And that's why she has an affair. But in this particular case, if Jax already had an affair, then my thing is, then that should be the reason why you're giving her ultimatum. Because if you got time to fuck this dude, then prior to the season happening, if you got time to fuck this other dude, then this is the ultimatum. Either you here for us or you go and be with that dude.
Right.
Leave us the fuck alone.
And so if he
that would have been the ultimatum.
Right. In that whole scene where he's mad at her, when she's with Damon, then that would be the scene. Like, I told you I was tired. You know what I mean? It could have been that. None of this that would have made much more sense. But the fact that she's working is like, dude, are you kidding me?
But she's coming home. But the thing about it is, but she's coming home every single night.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about it. Now, if she wasn't coming home and at the office all late at night and then get home and then the kids and, she ain't paying nobody no attention. And they're like, she's like, well, go do it yourself. I'm tired. Like,
ask your father,
right. But first of all, these kids sound they can take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. So you can't marry an attorney and then expect them not to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, and yes, I get it. There's a lot of women out there that, their husbands don't spend time with them or they work too much. But a lot of times a lot of women in marriages, when they feel their husbands are not spending any time with them, is because usually he's spending time with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
He finds time to spend time with somebody else. He may not be touching you the same way, or he's always tired. Whereas in this particular point with this show, it's just like, well, every time she answers the phone. See, that's why that's what I'm talking about. Dude, she's an attorney.
Yeah, major.
She's supposed to answer the fucking phone.
Yeah, she has to answer the phone.
Like, that's the part I don't get.
And she's an attorney of high-profile cases, so this ain't her first high-profile case, I'm assuming. So
she's a partner.
She's a partner in the firm, so this is, I kind of said this in podcasts in the past. Like, you knew from jump that this is the woman you married. She is a go-getter. She is a lawyer.
Now, this is where they should have spent a few scenes or so showing them early on.
How they got here.
Like you did the whole scene with her, that whole episode between her and Damon.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me, you didn't need the whole episode of that.
Yeah, I don't think we needed that.
That whole episode shit, because you got that. You got something happening between them when she first went to the jail to see him and he had the braids in his hair.
Mm-hmm.
You got that from that something happened between them. You didn't need a whole episode. That episode should have not ended with her and Lewis getting into the car accident. That's how it should have began. You should have saw them, because now you're telling me, okay, they had the car crash. This is how they meet. Or she went to the back of his car. This is how they meet. Which to me, he ain't pissed. Which any other guy in the world will be pissed. Somebody has the back of their fucking car. Mm-hmm. Which to me, that still bothers me with the writing now, is you should have made him pissed. Then see her and be like, oh, change his whole demeanor because of what he sees. Because one, I'm assuming she leaves the public defender's office, obviously, because she took everything down because she lost the case. Show her getting to this law firm.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's 16 years. Well, yeah, apparently it's 16 years. When do you become a partner in this law firm in a matter of 16 years, where it takes people, if at all, to make a partner in a law firm?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, even with Joan Clayton on Girlfriends, she never became partner. I mean, William did, but at least you saw that they've been there for some time.
Right.
They were trying to make partner, and they got partner over time. Right. Like, you still could have, the way the writing's going, you could have did that in that episode.
Yeah.
It showed where they were over time.
Right.
Jax in Lewis and how.
And even if he was the kind of guy, even if he let's say they still chose to kept the ultimatum about making it her job, maybe even if they try to make it, if they had an episode where maybe, her losing the case with Damon and she's just meeting Lewis for the first time, she could always say, yeah, I'm a lawyer, but maybe I'll, do, easy stuff. I'm thinking about doing easy stuff or whatever. And that's the woman he meets. You know what I mean? But she starts doing well on cases, and then she goes, well, wait a minute, let me go back to criminal. And it could be one of those things throughout time when he's like, oh, I thought you said you was going to do this, take it easy.
Well, also, too, not that point. And then also because he's already meeting her at a point where she is at a crossroad. You don't know.
Right, exactly.
So they should have expanded on that. It don't even have to. Again, that episode they spent doing this whole Jack and Damon fucking storyline that you didn't need to happen because he has no storyline for the new the.
Well, he has no character development. That's the problem. There's no character development.
So you should have took the time to develop the relationship between Jax or show us Jax and Lewis's relationship. Car accident. And it could be, you didn't have to do a whole scene. It could have been the scene of her losing the case.
Yeah.
Car accident scene. Boom. That's how you open up the episode. Now you're following Jax and Lewis. And the way the writing is going, you can chop it up to the point where it's like they move quickly and try to right.
Right. And if they needed a sex scene, it could have been between Jax and Lewis, how they met or whatever.
And then you could see, okay, she goes from being in the public defender's office to then, okay, she now is at this law firm and working her way up to the point where she's getting up to the point as she's moving further up the ladder at the law firm. Her cases are becoming, now they have kids. And now the cases start to become a little bit more and more and more and more intense. As you get to that point, you end the episode with where they're at now. In terms of, but again, I still wouldn't have done it on, then that way it would better work out. Then you would have to, but then you got to explain why you got cameras and shit in the house. But again, still, that's why they could have did it that way. But if you're not going to do that, at least make the ultimatum about because you cheated on me.
Yeah,
because that's the ultimatum that a woman would give a man.
Apparently, he's not that concerned about.
Nope, he sure isn't. Oh, we got the cameras in here for security because crazy things happen around here. Like what?
But that, to your point, if they had did a vignette scene where we see them and we see her winning cases, and maybe the people ain't happy with the outcomes, and maybe they try to kill her or whatever, then the cameras make sense. You know what I mean? If she's that lawyer,
it could be a scene altogether. Quick one too, where they're just saying. And they can have both things with her talking about her case volume and her affecting the family. Saying, you know what? In case you get dangerous, this is what you work hard for. I'm behind you to support you. You know what? I'm going to get cameras in the house to make you feel better, if it makes you feel safer. And I would have answered those empty things.
Right.
Yes. And he still could do all that while working on that stupid ass video game.
Yeah.
That he's supposedly working on.
Maybe we could have seen him grow. Maybe we could have seen him.
I had to
from
sacrifice.
Paper to video game.
Right. You're talking about I had to sacrifice.
What did you sacrifice?
Sacrifice what? What did you sacrifice, Lucas? That's the part.
We need to see you making major sacrifices, dude.
Yeah. Just so you don't see any of that stuff.
No. We need to see you turning down deals from Microsoft. Pixar for you to be like, yo, this is going to be my life.
Right. Because apparently when she crashed to your car, you were making video games then. Apparently.
I guess.
I don't know. Yes.
He could have been working for Domino's. That's probably why he was that mad. Because it wasn't his car.
That's probably why.
Shit.
So stupid. On top of those, that's one of the reasons why he wasn't bad when the car got hit. He ain't even his car.
He was like, right?
Not my car.
That's not my car.
Not my fault. Not my car. Too.
I'm putting myself through the ride. Video software engineering. That's my major.
ITT tech.
God.
Oh God. Anyway. Oh God.
One of the
Go ahead, Mike.
More serious things to talk about is I understand what aspect of when people get traumatized like that with when they don't tell their person, which part made me upset, even though she's traumatized. She said, I didn't tell Lewis because then he wouldn't let us go over there. And he won't let my kids be around them.
Yeah. Yep. I was like...
She's talking to her girlfriend. That happened somewhere around here where the generation of the man abused the daughter. Mm-hmm. She got older, didn't say anything. And he abused the grandkids.
Yep. I remember. Yeah. The union guy.
Nobody says nothing. I understand that you not want to tell anybody anything. But like we said earlier, once your kid gets involved, like something you don't kick in and say, I'm going to protect my kid by any means necessary.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there should have been, even if Jax, point in case, like maybe Jax didn't always let the kids go over there for that reason. You know what I mean? And and that's why Mama Lou comes over because she's like, you don't never bring the kids over. Or what you know, you just.
But they try to do that with, again, they tried and failed, but they alluded to that when Jax, when the mother called and said, oh, it's Paul's birthday. Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like she don't really want to go over there, but you still went over there.
Right.
So it's like,
wow. It should have been something where she never goes over there. Because even if the mother was like, last year was his birthday and you didn't, you never seem to come over.
Yeah.
Something.
Try to make an excuse and get bust out of your excuse. The mother presses you after you try to make an excuse. You say, okay, I'll come then. But she's like, oh, okay.
Or let Paul reach out and say, hey, come here. What's the name?
Jax.
Naima, the daughter. Naima.
Oh, Naima. Mm-hmm.
Come give me a hug, Naima. And Jax is like, nope. You know what I mean? Like, even that could have happened at the party.
Yeah. A lot of things could have happened.
But
they had myriads of choices.
Yeah, to sit on his lap, and then you're gonna go pour out a bottle, chug a bottle of wine, well, take a chug, and then pour the rest out. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, you always do this, Jack. Yeah. It's like,
or even if it was, because I felt like if that's the case where he's the abuser and you're over the house, you should be so disgusted where she doesn't even stay long, where she just like, because I guess her and Lewis had gotten to it then, I don't know. But
well, they did. Even that was her excuse to leave.
Yeah, but they should have left earlier. That shouldn't have been her excuse. But she should have been like, as soon as she saw her little girl holding his hand, that's when she should have been like, we're leaving now.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
Yeah.
She didn't want to tell or answer any questions, so she just tries to fade in the back. But in doing so, she leaves her kid open.
I don't know. I just feel like there's a certain amount of life, and I get it. Where it's not real. It's imaginary circumstances. It's life under imaginary circumstances. But you have to make some of this shit kind of real. You know what I mean? Make us draw us in.
And then also too, you don't see her or the kids. Well, you don't see the kids, either her interact with Paul again until he's in the hospital, and then he's holding, the daughter.
And maybe that's the case. So
you're looking at it again, and you're just like, you're just staring at it, but you're not saying, you're not moving her hand away, and then you sit down and say, well, all right, well, we got to go. Like, well, you all just got here. Well, we ain't staying long. We got to go because, the kids got to go to school and, I got my case. And it's like, but, he's like, well, are y'all coming back again? And well, no, we might not. And it's just like, okay, but why even bring your kids there at all?
Right.
Because she's trying to keep the secret. She doesn't want to bring up the family, is what she said.
What?
She doesn't want to bring up the family.
But now this is the thing about it. If okay, you're trying to keep the secret, but you're trying to keep the secret from who? Kids. The mama already know.
Yeah, the kids and the husband.
I get it.
But see,
but you ain't got to say anything at all.
But I don't even understand it keeping it away from your husband because
she said it. Yeah, she explained it.
She said.
I mean, I know she said she explained it like, oh, Lewis wouldn't let the kids go over. I kind of feel like then. I don't know. To me, that doesn't make any sense, especially like when you're talking about the beginning of the relationship. I'm going to assume that at the beginning of the relationship, they were friends and they were really close before the kids. And maybe that's something you would bring up to your boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like maybe Lewis knows but he likes Mama Joe because I don't know, give him a backstory. Why is he so close to Mama Joe?
But the same thing with the whole when Mama Lou brought up.
Oh, Mama Lou. See, I'm Mama Joe. That's soul food, ain't it?
Yeah.
I like that movie.
That movie was good.
That was a good movie.
But even when Lewis is talking to Mama Lou and she says something, blah, 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 and then said, and then this whole thing with Paul, he was like, what thing with Paul? Well, never mind. And, and basically dodges the conversation because it's about Jax. But again, that has no effect on her relationship with her husband.
No, not at all.
But I don't see Lewis not allowing Mama Lou to not see the kids. I can see Lewis saying, Paul's ass, but not coming anywhere near my kids. You can come over here and see them. Because that's the relationship that they're bringing between them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't see where she's going to say, put her off on Lewis. Like, well, if I tell him, he's not going to let the kids see their grandparents. First of all, the only grandparent they got is your mother.
That's it.
Ain't their grandparent. I mean, yes, he's their obviously step grandparent because she calls her stepfather, even though I don't know if they were married or not. But you should have made it a point to say to your mother, look, you can come over here, see the kids. Paul can't come over here.
Yeah, there was none of that.
But see, and I feel like
for you to be this strong woman and have this animosity with your mother about Paul, you should be saying that,
right?
Rather than because you can get up here and cry about your dad, but then you look at your mom and say, "Well, I wish you had. Why would you do that? I wish you had forgiven Daddy the way you forgiven Paul." If you can say all that, then you can tell your mother, "Paul can't come over here to my kids. You can." Now, if your mother says, "Hey, well, if Paul can't come, I can't come." Oh, well.
Right.
But then for you to turn around to say, "Oh, well, I don't want to tell Lewis. Lewis is not going to let them go over there to see their grandparents, and the kids need to have a relationship with their grandparents."
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if anything, if you're going to say, I feel like Lewis should have known, make Lewis know, and make it be, if the kids don't know, I can see why you wouldn't tell the children. I can see why the kids wouldn't know. But if the kids are like, we really love Grandma Lou, and we never see you, Ma, but we love spending time with Grandma. If it was one of those situations, then yes, that makes perfect sense.
Paul is so cool.
Yes.
Right. It would crush my children. I don't want to crush my kids. They really love their grandmother. but unfortunately, their grandmother is with Paul. But now they like Paul. Shit, it can be one of those situations because that's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then also too, or you could have just not written this whole Paul episode storyline in at all.
Well, I don't think she should have had kids. That's my opinion. Let's give it to these kids.
Yeah, because I don't.
But she kind of wants everything. You know what I mean? But she kind of wants everything, not really wants everything. I know what she really wants is her job.
If she's a shitty mom, make her I want to see her crash and burn as a mother. That's where I feel like her complexities will come in, because then we could see her be if they actually wrote her in all the episodes being a great lawyer, really being great at her job. But then as a mother, she sucks. As a mother and wife, she sucks. She's not great at it. This is the part where she's failing. She's slaying at everything else. Sometimes her hair is done and her clothes look really nice. And she's showing up to work and she's slaying those cases. But when she gets home, she don't know what to do. She's like, I know I got married and I know I got a family, but I don't really know how to do this role like this. I'm just muddling along.
Right. Because how old was the son?
And I can see, she's a mess.
How old was the son?
I don't know.
He might be 20. He's probably low-key 21.
He looks good. 16.
Is it 16?
He started off looking he was maybe 14, but it just seems like he's shooting up throughout the show. I'm like, is his voice a little deeper than usual?
Yeah.
And the daughter looks older than she's cast.
Right.
Daughter does look older than her casting. Because she's supposed to be, 10?
This child looks like she's 13.
Yeah, she does look older than what she is. Than what the character probably was written. But
they should have gave him younger children, because the son, like I said, the son looks like a man, which is probably why he's
like, but like I said, whatever, these kids can take care of themselves. So I don't understand when was this ultimatum given between
before Kalisha died.
yeah, before Kalisha died, when she was
a week before Kalisha died. They only got a month's worth of activity. God forbid it extended a year.
Because I'm just it don't make it just don't make no sense.
It's all stuffed in.
It is. Yeah. It's too much going on. And it's they should have picked and choose what they were going to go with and stuck with just that. Mm-hmm. They got too much. They're trying to tell too much.
Yeah. And they're forgetting what they tell. That's the thing. They're forgetting what they tell. And you're like, but wait a minute. Why did this happen? I'll tell you, next week, they're going to forget. We're going to forget that they had Jax tied up at the beginning of the episode. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, have somebody grab her.
Yeah.
That might come right at the very, very end. To try to get you.
And you know what? Honestly, at this point, I don't care who took Jax. I kind of just want to know who killed Kalisha. Once I find that out, okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I hope they explain why the person killed Kalisha.
One thing I guess is that the young brother just got out of jail. He was going to talk about, I've been in jail all this time, 16 years, thinking about her, waiting when I get out to be with her.
Yeah, I know. I already know what they were trying to say. And as soon as he said that, I was like, y'all are really trying to sub the fact that he takes her. But after he had the whole fucking crying scene at the auto body shop of her again, which it was.
It might be it might be his brother that takes her. Honestly,
I thought about that too. But then I'm thinking, if it's the brother, then that is the most stupidest fucking thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again, it's the show, so I'm like,
that's it. Who
knows?
I told you the leprechaun. If the leprechaun comes out of nowhere and takes Jax, I'm like, yep.
I want leprechaun. Give me my pot of gold.
I was like, wait a minute, did I sleep? When did she take that?
And then they try to put the whole scene with and then the whole scene between her and Braden. I forget.
I thought that was forced too. I was like,
it was forced. It was stupid.
they were like, here it comes.
Yeah. It was like, it was all out of place. It didn't make any fucking sense. Mm-hmm. I know they're trying to make that like a trigger scene to make her think about the same thing Paul said to her. That's all that was.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to do that. That's the thing about it. You didn't need Braden to say that for the setup when Paul does that later, because I think it comes after that scene. Scene, it was unnecessary because the two don't. It's like
there was no type of relationship like that,
right? No. So now it's like, wait a minute. So are you going to try to say that now Braden's somewhat like Paul,
right?
Like what? Or like everybody's so turned on by Jax? Like really?
That's not right. She got the magic gooch.
It was just.
I
didn't like.
I feel like her triggers would come throughout her life, though. You know, even when you think about all the men she's been intimate with, even including Lewis.
But how many men? That's the question.
Huh?
That's the main question: is how many men?
I mean, they say I read somewhere that sometimes, children who are like, particularly girls who are even boys too, who are molested, they can get they're really sexual.
Yeah, I know.
Sexually active, yeah.
They're sexually active. So I just, that would have maybe see that Jax is this woman who just like, maybe she shouldn't have gotten married. You know what I mean? Maybe she should, maybe have us think maybe she shouldn't have gotten married. Make her, if you're going to make her messy, make her the messy, the woman, especially if somebody's taking her, you know what I mean? I mean, at this point, it could be anybody, but
if you're going to make her, if you're going to make a character that seems like she shouldn't have got married, then make it seem like she shouldn't have got married because of her job. Because that's the ultimatum that Lewis gave her.
But then I don't think that's fair either. But
I'm thinking, but so again, it would fit if Lewis gave her an ultimatum of because you cheated on me versus you work too much. You answer your phone too much is pretty much what the ultimatum is.
Right.
You answer your phone too much. Every time it rings, you have to answer. Like, okay.
I think it should be cheating because then the whole Paul scenario makes sense because you go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She should have gotten therapy. Like this woman never dealt with her demons and this is why she's this way. And, she uses sex as something
But do that as a public defender when you're defending Damon. You don't do that after you get, you know what I mean? Like because the way they make it, obviously she was a straight, narrow person after it happened, and Paul
exactly.
So you're trying to throw this in as the reason why she's messy. It don't fit.
It don't fit.
It's like
it don't fit with all the things. Make her the person who's make her the person that's always messy. Like not just messy message, because it almost felt like the times where she was messy, it was like message. It felt like they were just blatant in the right. No, make her if her husband is giving her an ultimatum, let it be dudes. Let it because she can't stop cheating, and then maybe make him go. Right. I thought after we had kids that maybe you slow down because you are their mother. Something like give it some juice, give it some meat, something, and we didn't get that.
Yeah, it's like since this happened, she just turns messy since the ultimatum.
Yeah. Like she wasn't messy before then.
Right. Yeah. Let her be this messy person that make us see that we have to see POV. We have to see why he's giving her ultimatum, and we have to see it from his standpoint. Like I can see why he is like, yo, you need to slow down. It's me or nothing.
Because looking at this show. As much as they as much as they're trying to make it seem like she can't handle everything, she's handling everything. And I say that
somewhat
because I say that because again, you're not showing multiple times where you've let your kids down. you've let your husband down.
Right.
You're not letting them down when everything seems to be okay when your ass is in the office. You can answer your phone any other time then.
Mm-hmm.
When you come out, he's mad because you're answering your phone. But at the same time, she's an attorney. So what did you think she was going to do when she leaves the office? Her regular 9 to 5, like everybody else that can turn their phone off?
Right.
No.
Yeah, sometimes you got to bring work home.
Right. In the middle of the night, if, something happens to her client, she got to go handle that.
Yeah.
Like, come on. So, but again, work's fine. You got no issues with going on at the job.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though they're trying to make it seem like she's not there for Lewis, but she seems to be coming home. Like I said, you're coming home every single night.
Mm-hmm. Or again, I feel like they just didn't write it right. If you're going to make her messy for obvious reasons. Right. Make us go, damn, yeah, she's just blatant with her messiness. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, and there's so many examples where they can make her messy.
Oh yeah, they had myriads of choices out there. They just pluck a choice. Pick a choice. Just pluck it from the air. Because if we're sitting here going, well, why didn't you just do this? Why didn't you just do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. One time when they showed her actually looking sad in her thoughts when she was at work, and I think she just got off the phone with her husband, and he was talking about divorce, and her secretary came in, and she was like, what's wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Other than that,
she thought it was for Paul.
Yeah, she never even really has those moments. You know what I mean? It's like she's doing fine otherwise.
Yeah.
I think she got too much staff, too. I mean, that's just my opinion. I feel like they all.
Well, she got one secretary, and then she got that, and then the
investigator.
The investigator guy.
Yeah, but they go with her everywhere she goes. I'm not saying
everywhere she goes, they are there. I'm like,
oh, really? Damn, who are you?
And then, but wait a minute. So when Shawn brought up earlier about, somebody did about Jax, her them finally showing her being the attorney that she should have been.
Yeah, I brought that up.
But that was when she was in the office with Braden.
Yeah.
Not when she was in the courtroom.
When she was in the courtroom asking Sarah the questions, remember?
Yeah, when she was making everybody else look like they could be the suspects also.
Oh, who the hell is Sarah? Oh, Sarah's Braden's wife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even in that scenario, and I'm like, this is the only person that you cross-examine, because I would think that lawyers would talk to their clients and go, are you ready to answer these questions? Or even the witnesses or whatever, they cross-examine them before they go on the stand. So I don't know. I thought she did pretty good. Oh yes,
they usually, well, I shouldn't say usually. Sometimes they can prep their witnesses.
Yeah, they prep it. They prep them.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing no prepping before in them earlier cases, but this is the only time.
A profile case. Yeah.
But the way she came at Braden,
because you don't want anybody to say the wrong thing. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then
she actually did pretty good. I mean, she did it to kind of show him like, we can't put you on the stand right now. I'm going to play devil's advocate and
but
show
also,
what kind of questions they will ask you.
Yes, but then also was her way of, well, I should say her way. It was another way of the writers to try to make it seem like what happened between her and Paul is also affecting her job. Because that's really no, that's really why it was done. Yes, on the surface, it's the whole Braden thing. This is the reason why we can't put you on the stand. But when she was starting to go in on him about the whole sexual assault part, that was they were trying to make it seem like she wasn't really saying that for him. Like she was really trying to, like she was using the situation with Paul, pretty much to like, it's like things that she wanted to say to Paul that she was saying to him. That's how they kind of try to use it, because it was right after the scene. It was right after the scene where something happened between her and Paul. I think that might have been
the flashback scene.
Either the flashback scene or after she left. No, it was after she left the hospital, after he held her daughter's hand. They were trying to use how she felt as the underlying current of why she was, even though she was, yes, it was about Braden not going on the stand, but it was also this underlying current of.
But shouldn't that have been the underlining thing? I mean, that should have been.
It was a reach for them to.
I think it was a reach, and I feel like if she's that, I feel like she would be that woman all the time. It's particularly in bringing it back to Kalisha, which they never really bring back to unless they are in court talking about Kalisha. Bringing it back to Kalisha, when Kalisha says in one of the episodes before she dies, you should believe Black women or something like that. She says that to the effect, and Jax has a reaction in the bathroom or whatever because she hasn't molested. That would have been like, we need to see, let that be Jack's underlining, like, fight back. Like, that's the thing she is always going to fight. Like, you need to believe women. Did you rape her? Like, that needed to come up. I feel like that should have come up more often than.
Yeah, they give you a little, just give you a little bit.
And that's where they went away from. Because they could have used, now, her representing Kalisha. Well, I thought that could have been headed.
That should have happened.
But because then that way, but now showing what happened between her and Paul, your mother didn't say she didn't believe you.
But she didn't
completely fucking slit Paul's throat for it.
No, she didn't care as much about the issue, like you said. She said he won't stop drinking.
Yes, you know what I mean? It was the drinking part of it. She's thinking if he didn't drink.
What you mean drinking? The dude's touching me and trying to molest me.
Right.
It's and she became a secondary issue.
Yeah.
It's the drinking part. You separate. Yes. It's the drinking.
Right. It's almost like she didn't want to, and if that was the case, she didn't want to acknowledge it. And if that's the case, they needed to that's the thing. They should have done that throughout the series, where maybe Jax would want to have this conversation with her mother, and the mother always says, "It's his drinking." Like, no, it's his drinking. You just mad at him because he's an alcoholic.
Because you can't, because the one time Jax was getting ready to say to her, get her ass about it, but said you wasn't a good mother. The mother, Mama Lou, said, you can't say I wasn't a good mother. And Jax goes, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can't say you weren't.
Was that at the bar?
It was like, no, this was at the house. This was when Mama Lou came by for something. And
you're talking about the husband, how good he was, and
yes. And she said something about, something between her and Jax about but she brings up, I forgot, she brought up Paul for some reason. And she says, I wish you had to believe me the way you believe Paul, something like that. And she says, you can't say I wasn't a good mother. And then Jax goes, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Like, yeah, that's true. I can't say you weren't a good mother because you were a great mother. So it's like, wait a minute, what? So how can you have this on one end and say, on one end say, oh, you weren't a great mother, but then say
Well, I feel like
I wish you had forgave Paul the way you gave Daddy or something. It was just like
dismiss it.
If you're gonna be mad about it, be mad about it.
Well, I feel like things can be yes and things can be more than one thing. So if it's a situation where I think Jax was mad that she had taken him back and the mother kind of, made it seem like, oh, well, he's new. He's brand new now. You need to forgive like I forgave, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I can see where she's mad at that. And then maybe even have a conversation of, maybe in that moment, Mommy Lou goes, well, maybe you thought that he did that and he didn't, again, going back to the alcohol, that's the one thing she's jumping on. Oh, well, people ain't themselves when they drink or whatever, that kind of thing. And if maybe that's the tension where Jax is like, Mom, I know what happened. I wasn't drunk. If that was the dialogue, like I wasn't drunk when that happened, Paul was. And whether he was drunk or not, he groped me.
Right.
He molested me. Why can't you just accept that happened? You know what I mean? Like if it were a scene like that,
which they could have had.
Then she could say, well, you can't say I was a good mother. Like, yes, you provided very well, but you never believed me.
But she could have said, but that could have happened in that scene, in that whole episode, and with Damon and Jax and all that, and because that's when they first bring in Mama Lou, taking Paul back after 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Jax is pissed about the fact that she's taking him back. But I'm thinking, but that would have been the perfect moment to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Paul's sitting right there, and he even said, I made some choices that I would regret or whatever after being under the influence or whatever it is, and I apologize for it.
Right.
So it's like, okay, but so are you? But you're mad. Now you're mad at the fact that your mom was taking him back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are you you're mad at the fact that so that was the reason why she was pissed. But you're not pissed at the fact that your mother didn't believe you.
Yeah, but nobody's addressing the issue.
Totally. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say she didn't believe you. She just didn't address the issue.
Right.
She just addressed on the fact that he was drinking. That's the only thing, which they kind of alluded to when he's in the kitchen and he has the beer. And she's like, are you safe enough to drive? And he's just like, and pours the beer out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's
which is that actually pissed me off, because it's like, if you got to ask, you take your own child to the thing. Like, don't, what I mean?
Right. I would have said, never mind, I'll take her.
Right.
You done had one too many.
Exactly.
But in some cases, I get it. In some households, it goes exactly how it is on the screen. Okay, fine. But, and that's supposed to set up, because he's drinking, he's groping her. Well, show him groping her when he ain't drunk.
Okay. Yeah. And have him lie about it. Have him lie about, I had too much to drink.
Right, which he
said, I black out. You know what I mean?
He did. He did, and he even said that when he came into her into the kitchen and said, and apologized and said, "I'm sorry. I have too much to drink. I black out when I drink." Which to me, blacking out means that your ass is passed out, not blacking out to the point where your ass is walking around. Some people are different when taking alcohol. All right. Yeah. Some people black out in terms of being passed out. Some people get up and wander because their ass is drunk. Everybody takes the alcohol differently. But you came in there and you...
Drunk or non-drunk, you still don't... It doesn't give you...
You still did it. You apologized and said, this is what... Same thing he said to her mother when she told her mother. But the mother didn't... Again, if the mother had said to the daughter, I don't believe you, she never said, I don't believe you. She just took it upon herself to address Paul for his alcoholism.
Right, and that's it.
And that's where you lose
But like it goes back to the point, like I said, if she just was like, oh, he's just drunk, and sometimes drunk, people are not making the right decision. If she was just stuck on that path of it's the alcohol, then even that, then I can see where Jackson would be like,
Mama Lou did.
She did, but they needed to write a little bit more, especially if Jackson's going to say that line of "you need to believe me." You know what I mean? Like, not make it seem like it's an offhanded thing, which is what it seemed like that's what they were trying to write, but they just didn't. They're trying to write her. I don't know. They just all
because the way they make it seem like as if you don't like. Okay, it's something that my mom and I don't talk about. Period.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We ain't going to discuss that. We already went down that road. I've taken Paul back because he's a totally different man. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's your mama's problem.
Yeah.
But then Paul, all right, we don't talk about it, but I'm not bringing my kids over when Paul's here.
But Paul lives there.
But she would have to have a certain amount of strength to do that. I call some people like that. I call them bonbons because they hard and crunchy on the outside, but they're really soft on the inside.
Well, the Mama Lou, whatever, and then I don't know. Maybe in season 2, if they get a season 2, they'll address this. But Mama Lou has her issues too. Why is it that you need this man so much so that you're willing to block out that your kid was abused? And I almost think it made me think of Precious when
Monique
when Monique is like, "What about me?" That's where she has that scene.
Who's gonna love me?
Yeah,
who's gonna love me?
She was extreme.
It was extreme. I mean, that's extreme. Yeah. But Mama Lou was kind of doing the same thing. Or who's gonna love me?
Because there are women that I guarantee, even though they didn't address it, Mama Lou feels insecure about Mama Lou.
Oh, of course. Absolutely she does.
And it's one of those things where you feel like I'm not going to get anyone else other than this man.
Who's going to want me?
And I know people in my life who have done that.
Same.
Who've done that. And
will accept anything from the person.
And who will sit there and allow, or not even allow, but just think to themselves, I'm never going to find I'm not going to get anyone else. There's nobody else out there that's going to love me the way that I want to be loved, which actually is you.
Yeah.
And so that's where Mama Lou is. And that's why she's that way with Paul. But again, what they could have did, or they could have threw this in, one episode when Jackson's daddy was supposed to happen and her dad never showed up, you could have shown the relationship between Mama Lou and Jackson's daddy. Because my thing is, if you can leave him and his ass is on fucking drugs, and you get to Paul and his ass is an alcoholic, and he touches your daughter, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not jiving.
So it's, but anyway, it's like
there's so many avenues of where this show could have gone.
It could have told a lot, and the amount of minutes that this show is, and I look at the amount of minutes each episode is. I'm like, you could have told a whole fucking lot.
Yeah.
In 9 episodes.
Because the stuff that we got, it almost felt like lazy writing. Like they wrote it the day before, and they're like, I don't know what to write. All right, so this is what I'm gonna write.
Yeah, they'll figure out. They'll figure it out what happens. They'll guess what happens. Well, how these things came together. But what do you think about? I guess old boy's dying. Paul, he died when she came up there and stood up to him. So maybe her and Mama Lou's gonna go at it because she came up after she left.
I mean,
I don't even see that going because at that point, if her mama was in the room when she was saying
that would have been a nice, heated, juicy conversation.
That would have been great.
She could have cursed out both of them.
Right. And then you could have said, well, because your attitude and what you did, that made Paul go on cardiac arrest and I mean, that to me.
Now you got yourself a season 2 because you can't tie that up with
that was just a weaker version of Fitz killing Verna Thorne on Scandal. When she was
but Fitz actually killed her though because he took that.
Yeah, I know he did. He took the mask off. Killed her for real. But
it wasn't the IV. Okay.
But it's because I mean the way she snapped, but also too the way she snatched the nurse thing out. I mean, did she unplug it? Because the way she snatched it looked like it was from his hand.
I thought she
just took it from his hand.
I think the whole cord came loose, but go ahead. I look at that again. I think
you're gonna listen to me. And then she threw it at his chest.
Yeah.
I was like, good, he died.
You know you need to help. Go on and hit the button. I was like, really? Like, but you had ample, but again, if they had led more into that affecting who she was early on.
And I actually think
at that point it was just like
I get what they were trying to do with the fact that she's basically facing her abuser. I feel like that would have happened. She did face her abuser when she was young Jax, and she said what he did. She faced her abuser then. So I don't feel like, this is now the moment where she's facing her abuser.
If she never said anything, if she never said a word.
Yeah.
Then, yes.
Right. But the fact that she said the person that the standoff would need to be her and her mother. Like that, they needed to make that happen.
Or the mother yelling at Paul, saying, "You son of a bitch, you did do, something."
Or, I mean, not to kill off Mama Lou, but make Mama Lou the person, make Paul be the one to call it your mother's sick. And I mean, it's just tragic, but this is stuff that television is made of. Maybe she has, with Mama Lou being in the hospital bed, and it's like, hey, they have the conversation that needs to happen, and then Mama Lou dies after the heated, what I mean?
But it happened before in the movie.
That's interesting.
It happened before the movie. The movie I like too. With Medea, one of the movies. The family is there. Little Bow Wow's in it.
Oh, the family reunion?
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see all of it.
It was fun. It was fun.
Bless your heart.
But it's the same thing. The daughter was abused. The daughter actually had a baby by one of the uncles, and the mama didn't say nothing.
That's serious.
Yeah.
That really does happen, though. Unfortunately, it does happen.
Yeah, it does. They talk about keeping it in the family. Just keep it in the family. And it's like, hell no. Listen. My parents almost didn't see my daughter because they wouldn't put the cat away. So
Mike is serious. He's like, my baby's allergic. Stop playing around with my baby's life.
Oh, hey, that cat like to scratch. You know what I mean? That cat ain't gonna scratch my back. So you gotta put him away.
Y'all keep playing around. Y'all keep playing. You'll never see this child. You'll never see her.
Just like you said earlier, you better come over here if you want to see it.
Yeah, damn right. That's the way they can play this. Yeah, I just.
Well, you have to set boundaries. You know what I mean? You have to let people know, even when even with your parents, this is not gonna happen. You know what I mean? You have to set boundaries. And sometimes you have to have the hard conversations to set those boundaries.
And it's just if she's going to be tough, and apparently she is trying to juggle all of this. Again, this is not what happened between her and Paul does not seem to be affecting any part of her life except for when it happened.
Right. And I think that's where I'm like, because even Kerry Washington said it. Yeah, like she said it in the interview. Oh, she's trying to juggle I never got, first of all, I say it and I say it time again, I don't believe that she's really these kids' mother like that. Like, I just don't feel like she's engaged or connected like that for me to even think that she's juggling so much. Like, I don't get that. And I wish people would stop that, because I just feel like, but to your point, Terrell, she's kind of getting everything done now.
Right.
You know what I mean? You wrote her to kind of be sharp, not really
having a drink. Right.
Yeah.
Like somebody, like, I remember Stacey said to me at one point, she was like, piggyback on what you said, she doesn't look like she could be the kid's mother. Stacey said she remember looking at the Cosby Show and thinking Claire did not look like she was old enough to be the kid's mother in the first season.
No.
Until she had Condola. Until she had Condola, she looked more motherly. Condola in real life. And it wasn't it wasn't until later on that I really was like, oh snap, that is true, because she's only 10 years older than Sandra. Well, I mean, Sandra wasn't really in the first two.
No, she wasn't.
But Felicia Rashad is 10 years older than Sandra in real life.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, okay. So, but of course, we find all this out later on. But even just when she mentioned to me, it was like, oh, she really did look more motherly after she had her baby in real life. And I'm thinking,
I mean, yes, she looked the part, but
you still believed her when she was cussing Alvin out, though. Like, you still got the whole
right.
The writing too on the Cosby Show, you got the situations where she was motherly,
right,
to the children. You know what I mean? They had to come to her for certain things.
Yes,
yeah, to discipline them.
Yeah, these kids here in this show, I mean, well, the son, really, the daughter.
But then, I mean, I tell you, the son's like 23 years old. Mm-hmm. He's got to be.
Well,
Terrell, you pause.
All right, podcast listeners, we're going to end this episode right here, because actually, this episode's 2 hours. Probably.
Was this episode 2 hours?
No, the podcast.
Oh, I thought you meant the. I was like, really? It wasn't that good enough.
No, it was only. It was. I was going to stop the recording.
A lot of shit.
Yeah, no. So, podcast listeners, we'll be back next week for episode. Actually, we will be live next week.
Oh shoot! Now I got to get cute.
Yeah, we're going to be live next Monday. Oh, in this particular next Monday, we're going to be live on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh my God! Oh my God! You gonna be live on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't go on there anyway.
I know.
I mean, but I know people. All right.
I do too. Yes. We'll be all right. Oh, what? Yeah.
We'll talk.
Well, do
it on Instagram.
I don't think Zoom does Instagram. We'll be live on YouTube.
Okay. Well, pick one medium at a time. Don't be picking more than one.
No, we're gonna be live on YouTube and Facebook. I'll explain. Podcast listeners, we're gonna be live next week. So make sure you have your wine. I'm gonna have me some wine, because this is to be the last episode of Reasonable Doubt, and it's
wee.
So we're gonna be live.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. Woo.
Make sure you join us.
You know you're going to enjoy it though, Mike. We know you.
Mike's been enjoying all these episodes.
Never disappointed. I like it, Mike. I like it.
So we will be live. Make sure you join us. Have your comments. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
The Social T Podcast is a Folia audio production. Created and edited by Terrell Hicks. Follow us on Instagram at Social T Podcast, Twitter at Social T Cast, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Social T Podcast.